Hello, folks, and welcome to the September Co-working Idea Challenge. The Idea Challenge is about inclusivity, diversity, equity, and accessibility. I still mess that up every month. In co-working, we have an opportunity to build a new industry, and that's what we have a challenge every month. And if you go to the website, which you'll be able to find out all about that. And this month is Shazia, and we're talking about childcare. So, when did you first get into childcare, Shazia?
Um, I had the idea for co-working in childcare space back in 2008 when my eldest was 5 months old. I was brainstorming some business ideas with a friend, not wanting to go back to my corporate job. And so we were just brainstorming ideas. What could we do? And found it really hard to get anything done around our babies. Like I mentioned, my eldest was 5 months old. And I remember saying, wouldn't it be great if we could go somewhere where we could work and the babies are nearby? And I started doing my research and found this thing called co-working that was in America, which was so brand new then. And then when I was looking at the childcare market, realized there was no flexibility within childcare market here in the UK. So we created a space that was a co-working space with a flexible children's nursery. And so I have now been in this space for coming up to 14 years.
So, the thing to point out there is that not only are you a business owner with a co-working space, is say a bit about how you became qualified to run a nursery and everything like that, because you kind of got it's like being a pilot and a submarine driver at the same time. It's like two.
Yeah, I had so we had the idea for the space for Third Door, and we launched in 2010. And then I launched with two children. I had my older two, and then in 2012 I had, sorry, 2002. Did I just say 2012? I had my third, and a year after I decided to do a qualification early years, because what I found is that all the ideas that I had for the nursery, I was getting resistance for it, and a lot of it came on. Well, you don't know anything about running a nursery, and we do. And I was just like, well, I'll probably become a better leader and manager if I really understand the space. So I went and did a early years teacher status at Middlesex University, which was back. I think I got it in 2014, the qualification, and then I ended up being the manager for the nursery for the next 4 or 5 years. So I totally changed my career. It's never my intention to do that, but I think it was the best thing I did because I've really got a good understanding of what, from obviously from a parent's point of view, from an owner's point of view, from the staff point of view, and from like managing that, and what Ofsted need as well, which is our governing body within the UK, what's needed within a childcare facility.
And you did all this while being a parent. Like that's
Yeah,
how did you do
yeah,
that? Um, so
yeah. Women can do a lot of things.
let's say a bit about the mental overload, because we're going to dive into this in other discussions as we go through the co-working idea thing. But there's a thing which I've been a parent 10 years now, and I've gradually started to really understand the difference between, like, I'm a guy, I'm a very involved parent, and I'm still going, oh my goodness. And then there's a lot of things that you and I have both read that you've sent my way about the mental overload of being a mother in particular and going to work, and that whole relationship there. Can you spend a minute on that to
Yeah,
frame it?
yeah, it's called the mental load, and there's so many articles and things written about it. It's basically, so you go from being a young couple, you're together, then you have children, whether you're married or not, you have children, and then woman has a baby and has goes on maternity leave, and generally what happens is that she ends up then being responsible for all the children. So the school gets in contact with the mum first. She's thinking about the house, so she's thinking about um, her work, the child, and then managing the household and the children's schools as well. So is the food in the house? Is the homework being done? Is the toilet paper in the house? All of that. So that's a mental load that you're continuously carrying. I mean, I have a list personally. I've got a list what I need to get done for work, what I need to get done for myself, what I need to get done for the children, and the shopping list for the house. So this is a mental load, and there's a lot being written about it in terms of the unpaid caring side of being a parent. And I think the stat is something around that 75% of all unpaid care related stuff does fall on the shoulders of women. And even if it's equal, it still falls. If you still have a lot of equality at home,
Yeah.
it still falls a lot of it on women. So you're constantly carrying this load in your head about, oh, has my child done their homework? Have we got potatoes at home? Oh, I need to sort out the bills for this. It's just the household management is fall on the shoulders of women. How do we change that, Bernie? That's the question.
I'm working on that in my own relationship. I thought I was, as we've spoken about this, like Lorena always does the homework and I don't. And I'm going to change that today. When we finish this video, I'm going to go and sort that out. So the next thing to move on to is a lot of co-working spaces with childcare cater towards a certain economic demographic. And there's a big privilege accessibility issue going on there, which you've got like 1 minute to cover this so we can make sure we get in on the LinkedIn timeframe.
Well, there's not a lot of co-working with childcare spaces generally, and we were one of the very few, and as you know, we're one of the first in the UK. But what I find is that when it comes to, well, what's happening in the UK is that nurseries, just like nurseries on themselves that are in disadvantaged areas, a lot of them haven't got the right amount of funding, so have had to close over the years. And this was happening before the pandemic, and it's been accelerated. And as a result, there's more, and the ones people who can afford it are a certain demographic, the affluent, the middle class, and they can afford the childcare. So more nurseries are opening to cater towards that demographic. So they're becoming a lot more like the hospitality sector. And what doesn't sit well with me is that the people that work within these industries, the staff, tend to be one certain demographic. Like a lot of them are on minimum wage or just a little bit more, and they've got their own families to think about, and then they're catering for this more affluent demographic. So I feel that needs to change. And the point that I want to make when it comes to co-working in childcare is that we can't keep on chasing the same demographics. We can't keep on going down, which is white, middle class people and families. And I think co-working the way it has been, where the origins came from, and is about collaboration, it's about community, is if we are going to set more co-working places with childcare, how do we make it so that it is more inclusive to all the different demographics? So we're looking at more affordable childcare, we're looking at staff that are paid better. And we've really got to learn a lot from what's all the discussions that have happened in the last year since the Black Lives Matter. This is when we need to talk about it and realize that to get more women in the workforce, we can't just again cater towards middle class families. We've got to think about all these women who probably are working 5-6 jobs to make ends meet. What can we put in place to help train them, upskill them, so they're working in either for themselves or in better jobs? And also, if they're working in nurseries, how do we make sure that childcare, from an ethical point of view, pays their staff well and looks after their well-being and their mental well-being? So it's a whole, and I really do think, so where I come from is that I think co-working as it is the industry that can lead this and make a change so that other workplaces and corporates can start following it.
That's great. There's we mentioned something that definitely want to get in there is like there are families are a very different thing nowadays. So it's not just I know men and women having babies. We're in a whole everything about this idea project is about being inclusive. And what we'd like to hear from you folks is either on the idea project or below this video, wherever you're watching it, is your childcare experiences, what you think should happen, what would you like to happen. And this is going to be a month-long conversation. At the end of it, we'll have our big call, which happens every month, and there'll be links to that on the Co-working Idea Project. We also have a podcast, which we'll put wherever we can find this video that you can listen to too. And where's the best place to get hold of you, Shazia?
At the moment, LinkedIn. Yeah.
LinkedIn. Okay. Thanks very much, folks. stay safe, and we're looking forward to you taking part.